1 year since its initial reveal, we finally have the Castle Crashers Painter Boss Paradise DLC. But is this DLC worth it? I mean, it does cost $4, which on a game like Fortnite would get you, pretty much nothing. But this $4 DLC gives you infinite skins? No, that can't be right, dude. It's 2025. Companies just exploit the player base, right? Anyway, in this video, I'll be going over everything the DLC added, updated, and removed whilst giving my opinions. I hope you enjoy. Starting from the beginning, and from the moment you open the game, you're greeted with some new illustrations of the OG Knights, who I guess have been hitting the gym since we last saw them, because god damn are my boys built. But after starting the game, we are greeted with the classic or fresh option. This allows you to select which version of Castle Crashers you'd want to play, which is a great feature. Because let's face it, despite how good this Painter Boss DLC is, there are gonna be some people who don't like it and just want to play the OG Castle Crashers. But after selecting fresh, we are brought to the new main menu, and guys, the behemoth seriously cooked here. Going from a static old image to multiple animated scenes from the game makes this new main menu pop and really adds to the world building of Castle Crashers. I'm also a fan of this new merch screen for no particular reason. After pressing play, we are brought to a menu which features a new game mode called Back Off Barbarian. Now I don't remember this being mentioned in the Painter Boss DLC trailer, but it does have a new sticker, so it must be new, right? Anyway, I'll save that for a future video. Moving on to the character selection screen, and here we can see all the new character art, and man do they look good. I just love how each character shows off their individual personalities, which once again helps with the world building. And when you put them side by side with their old designs, I think it's clear which one is better. Jumping into the gameplay, and for us mouse and keyboard players, we now have keybinds for magic. Meaning with the single press of a button, you could summon your heavy splash magic, projectile shoot magic, or your jump magic. This is a great quality of life feature, but I honestly didn't use it much during my first playthrough since I'm so used to holding down the magic key. But hey, for my future Magic Only runs, this feature alone is gonna save my fingers from multiple cramps. Looking at you insane mode was magic. But speaking of gameplay changes, and the Painter Boss Paradise also brought auto healing potions to single player. This is a feature that's been in the game for a while, but only when playing multiplayer. But now we finally have it in single player, and I absolutely love it. Does it make the game easier? Yeah, but it also allows me to focus more on fighting the enemies instead of constantly looking at my health. Plus, it also saves me from panic scrolling through my items when I need to heal, so now I can just rest easy on my bow and arrow. Another major gameplay difference is the Z-axis change, which has been controversial within the community. If you're out of the loop, the Z-axis hitbox has been increased in the DLC, meaning that you can hit enemies further away when they are either above you or below you. This in turn will make the game easier as you don't need to be as accurate in your positioning. This change also applies to your hitbox as well, meaning enemies can hit you further away. During my first playthrough, I definitely did notice the difference, as there were some instances where I hit an enemy that I know I wouldn't have hit pre-DLC. But honestly, I have no feelings towards this change. Yeah, I didn't really have any strong feelings when it was announced, and I still don't now. But one benefit I did notice was that you can no longer cheese the evil wizard crystals, which is great, since that was the only glitch in the game. And now that it's been fixed, there's no need for the behemoth to look into fixing any other, since there are no other glitches. Please don't fix Cornboss Cheese, I beg you, great one. The final gameplay change happens to be Green Knight, who has had his backflip removed and now melees like a regular person. This has resulted in a major buff to the Green Knight, who can now juggle enemies normally and puts him in line with everyone else. But with every change comes every controversy, since people liked how unique he was pre-buff. But in my opinion, this change was necessary, as Green Knight was literally weaker than every single character in the game, and was simply frustrating to play. But I will be doing a separate video on Green Knight, so I'll go into more detail there. The next big feature added in the Painter Boss Paradise DLC are the fresh graphics, which updates all playable characters and enemies, every single weapon, and even the painter boss. But starting with the weapons, and here we can see every weapon updated to be a lot more vibrant and stylized. Some of my standout picks are the broadaxe, which now has been turned into an actual broadaxe, the chicken sword, which looks more like the behemoth chicken, the morning star that just looks a whole lot better, and finally the chainsaw, which has gotten its animation back from the pre-remastered Castle Crushers. And yes, this is on both classic and fresh. Now, I personally love the fresh weapons. Each design stands out a whole lot more to the classic versions, and the weapons that changed were definitely for the better. But taking a broader look at the fresh designs, and now it's time to talk about the playable characters. Listen, I think the new designs are great. The Brute's cape was so unnecessary, but also necessary at the same time. The Fencer's foreheads now require daily WD-40, and the Coneheads really live up to their name. But the Skeletons, on the other hand, yeah, they are so goofy. Now, Dan has said that they are making changes to the skeleton, but for the time being, the red eyes and goofy teeth do not look good on the skeletons. Like, at all. But apart from them, I think the Behemoth did a great job with all of the fresh designs. I will say, however, that the heads in back of Barbarian are a little bit too big, and end up being a detriment since they can cover the arrows behind them. But I guess you could also just replace them yourself, so it's not too big of a deal. When it comes to the boss fights, there were only 4 that got updated. That being the Bear Boss, Groom Boss, Necromancer, who looks even cooler now, and the Painter. Now, we already knew about the 3 small bosses, but the Painter update ended up being a complete surprise. This gets further expanded upon in the Painter boss fight, which now has a new cutscene, which I'll play for you now. What? What? Oh! Yeah, so the Painter straight up gets chest bursted by Paint Jr. And I have a lot of questions. Did we just witness the birth of Paint Jr.? Does the Painter use his pouch like a kangaroo? How many children does the Painter have? No, but in all seriousness, this cutscene was yet another total surprise in the DLC, and I think they nailed it. Especially since they gave a canon explanation on who Paint Jr. is and how they came to be in this world. But apart from the new cutscene, the Painter boss fight remains mostly the same, with the only differences being an updated look to the paintings exploding, and this new painting which, yeah, I have no idea what this is. Taking a look at the Painter's boss room, and this too has had a few notable changes. First being some new paintings which depicts the Painter through different generations, with one of them being a literal caveman. So is this the same Painter or past ancestors of the Painter? Moving to the other side of the room, and we can see what looks like a play area / classroom, presumably for Paint Jr. This is a great addition to the Painter's boss room, and makes me feel even worse for what comes after.
It must have been something I need.
Oh, and his fruit. Oh my, that is... Paint Jr., I'm sorry! I just killed your dad! But jumping back into the gameplay, and it's finally time to talk about the elephant in the room. No, not that elephant, or that one, but Paint Jr. Paint Jr. is the newest playable character in over a decade. So with that being said, Paint Jr. has a lot of hype to live up to. Yeah, so Paint Jr. is an interesting one, as on one part, his character design and I guess lore is great, but I do feel like his magic is not what people expected. Now, I will be making a separate Paint Jr. review video where I go into a lot more detail, but the TLDR is that Paint Jr. splash magic is random and unreliable, since this is the only magic in the game that does not summon on you or in front of you. That technically makes his splash one of the worst in the game, since you can spam the whole magic bar and only get a couple drawings to actually hit. But with that being said, I actually think that Paint Jr. slept on, and has a lot of potential behind his magic. But I'll save that game theory for its own review. If you want my opinion on him, which I guess you do since it's literally what this video is, I really like Paint Jr. His magic is truly unique since it's the only magic that's random, resulting in some uses that no other character can do. The unpredictability of his splash can be solved by simply using his projectile magic, and his jump magic is my favourite in the whole game. I mean, having the painter break through the ground and throw Paint Jr. into the air was the last thing I expected. And it even says the painter's famous voice line. You know, the one foiled, or is it child? Hello? Help? Carrot. Hell no. Soyo. Yeah. Shield. Saya. Higher. Soyo. Boy. Alright, so since no one can agree on what the painter actually says, I went and contacted Dan Paladin for an official answer. And for the moment we have all been waiting for, the painter boss officially says... Oh, the behemoth doesn't know? Well, this is awkward. I guess we'll just transition past this. I do feel like it was a missed opportunity to give Paint Jr. an attack that involved paint, since his name is literally Paint Jr. Maybe his projectile magic could have been paintings like the painters instead of his drawings. But I do get why they did this lore-wise, since if we go into Paint Jr.'s room in the painter boss fight, we can see pencils and stacked papers alongside some of his drawings that appear in his magic, showing us that Paint Jr. is still practicing becoming a painter. But on the contrary, we do see Paint Jr. catch his father's brush at the end of the fight, which I thought hinted at paint magic. Anyway, we now have to talk about his starting weapon, since that alone breaks this game completely. Are you ready for this? Paint Jr.'s starting weapon has +7 magic, +2 defense, and +1 agility. You heard right. +7 magic. This officially makes the pencil the best weapon in the whole game, beating the unicorn horn with 1 more magic. It also has 0 downsides, unlike the unicorn horn, which at least reduced your strength. But no, the pencil weapon straight up beats the unicorn horn, whilst also giving more defense and an extra agility with no downsides. Like, that's just crazy. Now, a weapon of this magnitude must surely be up there with the grades, locked behind a level cap of at least 35 or maybe even 40. Level 1. This weapon is level 1. That means any character can grab the most OP magic weapon immediately out of home castle. Oh man, this game is never beating Too Easy Allegations now. The final and most anticipated addition to the Castle Crashers Painter Boss Paradise DLC are the custom characters. And guys, they cooked with this one. So in case you've been living under a rock, the main selling point of this DLC is the ability to make your own custom characters that can then be played in-game. This is taken a step further since you can also replace every enemy, minus a troll, with your own custom characters. And if that's all not enough, you can also share your creations on the Steam Workshop for other people to download and play. There's currently over 23,000 uploaded creations to the Steam Workshop, and that number keeps on growing day by day. Some of them are insanely good and detailed. Others are, unique. But every creation is a creation, and one more character you can play as in Castle Crashers. Now, I'm not going to go into detail on how the whole system works since I've done that many times in other videos, but I will say that after trying out the system myself, I was extremely surprised to how simple it was. Like, I knew it was going to be simple, but I wasn't expecting it to be click a single button simple, where you can then assign it to one of your 10 custom save slots or replace any playable character in the game. Replacing a playable character will also replace the enemy counterpart, which has had some interesting interactions with the magic. For you, the player, your magic will be whatever you assign the custom character. This is also true for the enemies, minus some niche cases. So for enemies who throw bombs as a magic projectile, they will remain a bomb thrower despite you not selecting it, resulting in characters like the Fencer mixing magics. Aliens are another enemy who are truly unique in this DLC, since they have the only magic in the game that cannot be selected when making your custom character, and will also not have any of their magic changed when replacing them. Finally, you could take advantage of this system by messing with the enemies, since giving them Red Knight magic will disable all enemy splash attacks, or my personal favourite, giving the enemies King magic will result in their splash magics healing you. That's right, their splash magic heals you and not themselves. So if you're struggling on Necromancer, just give every enemy King's magic and I'm sure you'll be fine. And that's all the major additions in the Painter Boss Paradise DLC. So I think it's time to answer the most important question. Is it worth it? And if you couldn't already tell, yes. This DLC is absolutely worth it. I mean, it's literally cheaper than a Fortnite skin, but this one gives you unlimited skins. And then there's everything else, which is just the icing on the cake. But speaking of cake, where are the alien cheeks, Dan? Behemoth, we will boycott until we see the alien cheeks again. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.